As the blizzard was about to arrive, Charles left me at the bus stop, insisting on driving my dowry car back to take his 5-month pregnant subordinate home. I clutched my phone, a chill spreading from my fingertips to my entire body. But the forecast said there would be a blizzard. You know there's a blizzard coming. Fiona is pregnant. Now what if something happens? You're an adult. Can't you take care of yourself? He slammed the car door shut, his tone filled with impatience and disgust. I gripped the handlebars tightly, not daring to let go, but I'd been feeling unwell all day. Since the morning, I've been feeling dizzy and weak, and I've even been vomiting. I thought about going to the hospital for a checkup, but considering that I need to save money with Charles to have a baby, I decided against it. Little did I know he was about to leave me at the bus stop. At that moment, if you're not feeling, well, just go to the hospital. I'm not a doctor, so there's no point in coming to me. He paused and said, "Why would a normal person feel jealous of a pregnant woman?" I took a deep breath, trying hard to suppress the tears that were about to overflow. "Charles, I'll ask you one last time. Are you really going to go pick her up and leave me behind? Crazy." Charles didn't even glance at me and just started the engine and drove away. The vehicle kicked up dust and drove off, and snow began to fall from the sky. My tears could no longer be restrained and spilled out. The wind and snow gradually grew stronger, and I wrapped my thin coat tighter around me, shivering under the bus stop sign. I barely managed to catch the last bus, the cabin packed with people, the air thick and tainted with a mix of various odors. I gripped the handrail tightly, feeling a tumultuous churn in my stomach. Suddenly, a sharp break, and I was thrown forward, crashing heavily to the ground. The crowd around me gasped, but I felt no pain, only a heart-wrenching agony in my abdomen. I felt myself slowly losing consciousness, the sounds around me becoming increasingly blurred until only the buzzing hum remained by my ear. When I woke up again, I was already lying on a hospital bed. The smell of disinfectant was pungent, and the white walls were cold and unfamiliar. A nurse walked over, her tone indifferent. "You're pregnant, but the child is unlikely to survive. Forcing the pregnancy could endanger your health. Do you still want to continue with the pregnancy?" My mind is a bit blank. I can't believe I'm pregnant, but is this child still necessary? I sat there in a daze, thinking that the doctor had asked my family to come pick me up. I looked up at the snowflakes, falling from the sky, and felt an overwhelming chill. I also wanted Charles to come pick me up, but when I called, he only impatiently refused. I numbly opened my phone, and a glaring post in my friend's circle caught my eye. It was from Fiona. The accompanying text was, "Thank you, Charles, for guarding me and the children like a warrior, braving the elements every day and still safe. Lie bringing me home, even in blizzard conditions." A photo of steaming chicken soup was also included below, along with a picture of Fiona happily showing off her pregnant belly. In the comments section, Charles even liked a post. Seeing this bright red heart, I suddenly felt it was very ironic. On a snowy day, my husband drove my dowry car to escort another pregnant woman, ignoring the pain of me taking the bus and almost causing the death of our child. A surge of anger erupted from the depths of my heart, burning through my insides with pain. I left this message in the comments, "Wishing you a long and lasting relationship. Get a divorce tomorrow." These few words seemed to exhaust all my strength. Have a good relationship with Charles's colleagues. I believe everyone in the department can see this. Sure enough, Mia privately chatted with me. "Sister-in-law, don't misunderstand Charles. Charles was just giving her a ride home." I didn't reply. They had no idea that when I needed him the most, he chose another woman and her child. At that moment, my heart was already dead. This child is no longer needed. I called the nurse over, and with a bleak smile said, "There's no hope for the pregnancy. Just perform the abortion for me." Consciousness returned home in a haze. The snow had already turned the head white. I dragged my heavy steps to the bedside, pulled over the thick, down comforter, wrapped myself tightly in it, and curled up into a ball, trying to absorb some warmth. Suddenly, with a loud bang, the door was violently flung open, and Charles stood at the threshold, fuming with anger. His disheveled tie and sullen expression betrayed his fury. "What do you mean by that comment? Are you trying to embarrass me in front of my subordinates?" He tugged at his tie, his tone filled with impatience. I wrapped myself in the blanket, motionless, simply watching him quietly as if he were a stranger. He seemed even more annoyed, raising his voice. "Isn't it just picking up and dropping off a colleague for work? Do you really have to make such a big deal out of it? Who in the whole company doesn't know that Fiona is pregnant? Special times call for special care. Can't you be a little more generous? Is it really worth arguing with me over such a trivial matter?" Every word he spoke was like a sharp knife piercing deeply into my heart. For 3 years of marriage, he has always been gentle and considerate towards me, obedient to my every wish. But now he accuses me of being petty and lacking generosity for the sake of another woman. A chill shot up from the soles of my feet to my heart, and I clenched my fists tightly, my nails almost digging into my flesh. I took a deep breath, trying to suppress the tumultuous emotions within me, and said, "Generous Charles, it snowed today. I just asked you to give me a ride home since it was on your way. Is that so difficult? I am your wife. You want me to say it how many times? This is just colleagues helping each other. Bella, I remember you weren't like this before, but I am. Also—" My face turned pale and my stomach turned violently, almost making me vomit. Charles stood at the door, arms crossed, with an impatient expression. What now? What kind of pity play is this? I raised my head and looked at him coldly. "Charles, do you really think I care about playing these games? Let me tell you, the child was lost when you took another woman home." He was taken aback for a moment, then scoffed. "Stop messing around. Just because I refuse to pick you up, you start making up stories. A child? Where did you get a child? Assuming you are really pregnant, then you should be more understanding of Fiona. She is a pregnant woman and has limited mobility. What are you quarreling with her about?" His tongue was icy, devoid of any concern, only endless accusations. I could no longer hold back, and tears streamed down my face. In his heart, am I really that kind of person, willing to fabricate lies and even use a child to gain sympathy, just to vie for affection? Just now, Fiona said that if she upset you, she would specially come over to apologize. Others are so understanding, yet you are being unreasonable. I maintained a calm expression and remained silent. Suddenly, the phone rang, interrupting the train of thought. The name Fiona flickered on the phone screen, and I could almost imagine her hypocritical face at this moment. Charles pressed the answer button, and before he could say anything, he heard her delicate voice come through. "Charles, how is Sister Bella? I heard Sister Bella is very angry. You mustn't take it to heart. She's just too anxious. She definitely still loves you. I can smell the stench of that scoundrel even through the phone. Don't speak for her anymore. I've spoiled her to no end. She's making a fuss over such a trivial matter." Charles's tone was so gentle it could almost drip with water. "Just leave this matter alone. Hurry and sleep. You still have a child in your belly." He gently hung up the phone, turned to look at me, and his eyes flashed with impatience again. "I'll sleep in the study tonight. You should reflect on yourself." I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. "Charles." I slowly opened my eyes. "Let's get a divorce." He was taken aback, seemingly not expecting me to say such a thing, and then scoffed. "Divorce? What are you making a fuss about now? My patience has its limits. Is it really necessary?" "It's not important anymore. Let's get a divorce." My tone was calm, but each word struck him like a nail driving deep into his heart. I ultimately only told my best friend Vivian about the miscarriage. I dialed Vivian's number, and her voice was filled with pain and anger. "Bella, You are such a fool. Back then, for his future, you gave up the promotion opportunity and left the company. Now, just because you've been promoted, you think you're above everyone? Flirting with your subordinates? I closed my eyes, listening to my best friend's concerned scolding, finally finding some comfort. Yes, I was indeed too foolish. Not only did I give up a great promotion opportunity, but I even gave him the dowry my parents had given me to support his career. Now he treats me like this. Bella, don't worry. I will pay more attention to them at the company. If I discover anything, I won't let this dog of a man get away with it, I replied softly and hung up the phone. Today, snow covered the entire city. It was too cold. I took a week off, planning to rest well. I opened the door and a chill rushed in. The room was empty. Charles had left early, not even bothering to come and see me. In the past, after a quarrel, regardless of who was right or wrong, he would leave a fridge magnet with playful apologies or warm, comforting words written on it. But this time, the refrigerator was empty, with nothing inside. Although it was just a minor miscarriage, the doctor said that one should not be careless. If proper rest is not taken, it could lead to lingering health issues in the future. I forced back the bitterness in my heart, mechanically lining up, registering, waiting. Suddenly a familiar conversation reached my ears. That was the joy from the soon-to-be dad and mom. Charles, this outfit is so cute. Shall we buy it for the baby? I'll listen to you. Charles, the doctor said the baby is growing quite well. I think it might be a boy. If only I looked like you. It doesn't matter whether it's a boy or a girl. My parents said that once you have the baby, they will come over to take care of you. A woman's voice laughed happily. Following the familiar male voice, I raised my head in disbelief and indeed saw Charles. What do you mean her parents said? That once Fiona gives birth, they will come to take care of her? I felt as if struck by lightning. While Charles gently held that woman, his face full of affection, he saw me too, and a smile on his face instantly froze, a hint of panic flashing in his eyes. How did you get here? Are you really pregnant? He asked stiffly. I gripped the examination report tightly in my hand, my nails digging deep into my flesh, the pain barely a fraction of the heartache I felt. Is it important? I retorted coldly, turning my head to see Fiona. Congratulations. You are about to become a mother. Thank you, Sister Bella. I'm not feeling well today, which is why Charles brought me here for a checkup. Please don't misunderstand, she said. I let out a cold laugh and said nothing. Misunderstanding? What do I need to misunderstand? Perhaps my gaze was too cold, and Charles also sensed that something was off. He frowned slightly, his tone somewhat displeased. Bella, what kind of attitude is this? I thought you had reflected on it properly. What attitude? I curled my lips in a cold smile, trying to suppress the raging anger inside me. Charles, do you take me for a fool? You sent her home and now you're accompanying her to the prenatal checkup. Do you think I'm blind? Fiona seemed to be frightened by me, shrinking back a little and hiding behind Charles, saying weakly, Charles, Bella's sister is too fierce. She will scare the baby. Don't be afraid. I'll talk to her nicely, he gently comforted Fiona. But when he turned to look at me, his eyes were filled with disgust. You've really had enough. Are you stalking me? What do you want to know? Is her child mine? His tongue was cold and sinister. It's mine. So what? Before I felt a bit guilty towards you, but seeing you like this, the venomous woman you are, I know my choice was not wrong. So this child really is Charles's? This scumbag with Charles's favoritism. Fiona immediately changed her demeanor, arrogantly stroking her pregnant belly and boasting. Charles not only picks me up and drops me off, but also accompanies me for leisure, treats me to afternoon tea, and doesn't allow me to take the bus or subway. He says that only incompetent women take the bus. If it comes to the ability to demean oneself, I truly cannot compare to you, I scoffed. What does she think, Charles is some kind of treasure? Fiona was infuriated, but I continued to prick her with every word. How could I? Fiona? You can't possibly think being a mistress is something to be proud of. It's better than being a useless old hag. She rolled her eyes and exchanged insults with me. Ha! This man, if you want him, I'll give him to you. I, however, looked down on her disdainfully. But my money? You shouldn't think you can get a single cent of it. Turning to Charles, the car is mine. Now give me the keys. You still want a beautiful car with a beautiful woman? You're dreaming. In the face of his betrayal, I was surprisingly calm. No longer crying or making a scene. I just treated us sincerely, feeding the dog, and from now on, take back what you deserve. I snatched the keys back, leaving the two of them in shock. Charles probably didn't expect me to be so fierce, and he stood there dumbfounded. When I got home, the first thing I did was throw out all of Charles's things. His clothes, shoes, tie, game console, and even his most treasured limited edition sneakers were all swept into the garbage bag by me. I was like under a spell, frantically clearing away all traces related to him. This house was bought by me before marriage, and it's in my name. He, Charles, didn't spend a penny, so what right does he have to flaunt himself here with Fiona after? Tossing and turning for most of the night, I collapsed on the sofa. It was then that I realized how suffocating my life had been in these 3 years of marriage. Like a fool, I was played around by him and Fiona. Originally, we were all working on projects at the company, and I had always been the top performer. It was he who said that the work pressure was too great, and after getting married, he wanted me to rest, letting him bear the burden of the work pressure. I believed it to be true. After getting married, I gave up my promotion opportunities and devoted all my resources to him, while I took a job as a clerk in a small company. The salary is low, but it's a stable 9-to-5 job, allowing me to spend a lot more time with him and his parents, keeping the family well organized. Now that he is living well, earning more money, and has been promoted, those little thoughts can no longer be hidden. The phone rang. It was Charles calling. I hung up directly and then blocked him. He immediately called back with a different number. I irritably answered the call. What exactly do you want, Charles? Are you crazy? You threw all my things away. Do you have any idea how expensive those things were? His tone was filled with anger. Huh, Charles? You know it's precious. Then what? Do you take my youth and my feelings for? Just some street vendor goods? I sneered. You can't be unreasonable. Jinky is pregnant now, and her emotions are unstable. I can't let her get angry. So what? You want me to suffer and endure for your mistress and your illegitimate child? I was almost laughing out of anger. Bella, don't go too far. What do you think you are? If it weren't for me, who would even look at you? Before he could finish his words, I interrupted him. Charles, listen to me carefully. From today on, we have no relationship whatsoever. You can be with whoever you want. Just don't bother me anymore. And this house is mine. It has nothing to do with you. So don't come back. After saying that, I hung up the phone angrily and added him to my blacklist. Turning off the phone, the world finally became quiet. I got up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, looking at the brightly lit city outside, which had been tightly wrapped in snow. I took a deep breath. Divorce may be the most correct decision I've made in these 3 years. The next morning, I went to the law firm to inquire about the divorce matters. The lawyer said that the car and the house were both purchased before the marriage and are considered premarital property, so they will all belong to me after the divorce. Only the other parts need to be discussed with the husband. What is there to negotiate? Everything belongs to me. He leaves with nothing. I grabbed my phone and flipped to Vivian's number. My best friend is the information hub of the company. As long as she wants to know, there is nothing she doesn't know. Vivian, I'm at the hospital. I ran into Charles and Fiona. They confronted me. What a pair of dog men and women. Just you wait. I'm going to chop him up. Vivian, don't be impulsive. I need you to do me a favor. I paused, then continued. Gather all their mess in the company for me. I have a tough battle to fight. I want to ruin their reputation and bring them to disgrace. I let out a cold laugh, a glint of ruthlessness flashing in my eyes. Vivian was very fast. Before long, she sent over the photos and videos. I held back my nausea and finished looking at all. The evidence. They think that just because I'm not watching them, they can do whatever they want. It turned out that Charles and Fiona's affair was no longer a secret in the company. Hugging and cuddling, exchanging glances and flirtations are all child's play. What's even more outrageous is that they are actually doing it in the company break room, the meeting room, even in the office. Usually, they often take the opportunity of business trips to be together. The entire department knows, but due to their positions, they all kept it from me. These two people are simply so shameless. Vivian's tone was filled with sarcasm. I'll tell you about Charles. He doesn't have any real skills. The projects he used to get promoted are mostly ones you did before. He directly takes your achievements to claim credit and even says he did them himself. I tightened my grip on the wine glass, my nails digging deep into my flesh. Also, that bitch Fiona, relying on Charles's favoritism, is tyrannical in the company. If anyone offends her, she makes Charles put them in a difficult position. Many people have been driven away by her. As I listened to Vivian's revelations, I felt like a jumping clown. Everything I had worked so hard for had ultimately become a stepping stone for them to climb higher. I let out a cold laugh. Truly, one brings ruin upon oneself and cannot live. Since you are so shameless, don't blame me for being heartless. Created a PPT with all the materials and had Vivian posted in the company group, which stirred up a great deal of discussion. The group instantly erupted in chaos, and before long, Charles and Fiona were summoned for a discussion. Vivian's call came through, her voice filled with excitement. Bella, your PPT is amazing. The whole company is talking about it now, and Charles and Fiona's reputations are completely ruined. They'll probably have to pack up and leave by tomorrow. As expected, Charles and Fiona were fired from the company, but this is not enough. Far from it. I opened my computer, created a new email, and in the recipient field, I entered the email addresses of all the clients I had collaborated with Charles, as well as the email addresses of senior colleagues in the industry. Attached are the unsightly videos and photos that Vivian sent me. In no time, Charles's scandal spread like wildfire, becoming a disgrace in the industry. I think no other company would want him anymore, right? Vivian called me with good news. Bella, the industry has issued an ultimatum. We absolutely refuse to accept these two losers, and now Charles has nowhere to go, so he can only huddle in Fiona's rental apartment. At this moment, Fiona is like an angry old hen, constantly furious at this useless man. I also find it a bit funny. Didn't Fiona think Charles was some kind of treasure? Now that she has him, why isn't she cherishing him anymore? After Charles was expelled, he rushed to my house like a mad dog, shamelessly refusing to get a divorce. On what ground? Should I leave? This house is half mine, he said, his eyes red, reeking of alcohol with spittle flying onto my face. I wiped my face in disgust and sneered. Charles, you have undeniable evidence of infidelity during your marriage, and you still have the nerve to ask for the house? Dream on! As soon as he heard this, he became even more agitated, cursing under his breath. Damn, bitch, you made Fiona scream for an abortion? What could happen to my child? I'll fight you to the end. I couldn't be bothered with him and simply locked the door. The next morning, as I left for work, I found the words women who can't have children and husband killer painted in bright red at the entrance. The strong smell of paint made me feel nauseous. Without a doubt, it was definitely the work of Charles and his family. Sure enough, Charles's parents were blocking my front door like two guardian deities. I quickly wrapped my coat tighter, yet still felt a bone-chilling cold. You are really a ruthless woman on such a cold day. How could you leave my son homeless? His mother spoke first. Of course your son is sleeping in his warm hometown. I suppressed my anger, my tone laced with sarcasm. How do I remember him? Saying that once Fiona gives birth to the child, you would eagerly go up to take care of her during the confinement? How is it that he is now homeless? When she heard this, her face turned even uglier, and she pointed at my nose, scolding. So, what if it is? You are a harbinger of doom. 3 years of marriage and not a single sign of a baby, yet you still have the nerve to occupy my son's house. Our family cannot be without heirs. Fiona is carrying a boy and he is precious. You kind of woman should be drowned in a pig cage. The spittle flew out with her sharp voice, and I took a step back in disgust. His father chimed in. Exactly. How did your parents raise you? You have no manners at all. My son treats you so well, providing you with everything you need, and you repay him like this. Do you have any conscience? Hurry up and transfer the house to my son. Consider it a small compensation to our family. I looked at their ugly faces, my stomach churning, feeling nothing but disgust. This is clearly not about seeking justice. It is obviously an attempt to extort. I took out my phone and called the police directly. Hello, is this 110? Someone is maliciously vandalizing the wall blocking my door and threatening me. The police arrived quickly and took the elderly couple from the Song family away. I watched as they were shoved into the police car, feeling a surge of satisfaction in my heart. That evening, I received a call from the police station asking me to come over. When I arrived at the station, I saw Charles's parents sitting upright, looking defiant yet unable to hide the panic in their eyes. I said to the police with absolute certainty, I want to sue them for trespassing and malicious vandalism. No, settlements. You little whore! Charles's mother pointed at me, her lips trembling. I looked at them coldly. There are cameras at my door, high definition, capturing every angle. Clearly your criminal evidence cannot be denied, and you still dare to spew nonsense in the police station? I'll charge you with defamation. Again, Charles's mother slumped in the chair, her face alternating between shades of blue and white. I let out a cold snort. The sin was committed by your son, not me. If it weren't for his infidelity, I still respectfully call you Mom and Dad and honor you with gifts during the holidays. This cotton-padded jacket you're wearing was chosen by me after running through 3 shopping malls last winter, costing over 3,000 yen. For the past 3 years, I've poured my heart and soul into you. And what did I get in return? Early in the morning, threats and curses with paint. Why should I swallow this anger? At this point, my eyes became a bit moist, but I held back and didn't let the tears fall. The police received my instructions, began taking notes, and once again warned Charles's parents to watch their words. At that moment, Charles also arrived at the police station. As soon as he walked in, he dropped to his knees in front of me, his face twisted in sorrow as he pleaded, Bella, I'm begging you, spare my parents. I know I was wrong. I'm getting a divorce. I'm leaving right away. Whatever demands you have, I'll agree to them. I won't make a fuss anymore. He spoke while forcefully slapping his own face, each strike louder than the last, as if he wanted to express his regret in this way. I looked at him in this state, and there was not a ripple in my heart, only endless disgust. In order to smoothly get a divorce, I ultimately forgave his parents, quickly called the lawyer, and directly drafted the divorce agreement for Charles to sign. After dealing with all this nonsense, I was exhausted both physically and mentally. I threw myself onto the sofa and picked up my phone to scroll through the photos of me and Charles from before. The sweet memories of the past now seemed so ironic and ridiculous. I was so blind to have fallen in love with such a scumbag. I deleted all the photos and videos of him, completely erasing him from my life. The moment I held the divorce certificate in my hands, I felt all the strength in my body drain away. 3 years of marriage shattered in an instant. To say I felt nothing would be a lie, but I know clearly that prolonged pain is worse than a short one. Dragging it out will only make me suffer more. I even feel a bit relieved that, fortunately, that child did not want to come into this world. That night, Vivian and I got completely drunk. She patted my shoulder while mumbling, "Men, they're all the same. Don't take them too seriously. From now on, I'll look out for you." I smiled as I pushed her away, but a warm current surged in my heart. When I called my parents back home to talk about the divorce, I thought they would scold me. But to my surprise, they were overwhelmingly supportive. "Bella, we always thought that guy wasn't a good person, but with your enthusiasm, you just dove right in, and we really couldn't stop you." "Dad, Mom, I was wrong. I shouldn't have been so willful." Hearing my parents' voices, my nose tingled a bit, and I couldn't help but cry. "It's okay, girl. It's good to be apart. Live well from now on. Your parents will always support you." With the support of my parents and friends, I feel as if I have divine assistance. I returned home and had a prosperous, rejuvenating my spirit. In spring, the snow melted, and I returned to the city once again. I gave up the 9-to-5 office job and found a new challenging position in live streaming operations. 3 years of marriage have drained me of all my passion and ambition. Now it is time to reclaim them. This job is exhausting, yet it makes me feel fulfilled. Before long, with my own abilities, I carved out a place for myself. Business negotiations came one after another, and the hosts under their command were all making a fortune. With work finally winding down, I could finally catch my breath. I arranged to meet Vivian, and we found a quiet cafe. We ordered 2 cappuccinos and started chatting about recent events. "How have you been lately? Is work going well?" Vivian asked with concern. "Not bad. Quite fulfilling," I replied with a smile. "That's good." Vivian smiled as well, then leaned in close to me with a mysterious air, lowering her voice to ask, "Do you want to know how that jerk is doing?" I curiously looked at my best friend. Now wanting to know about him is merely a manifestation of revenge. Vivian looked at my expression and sighed in relief. "I'm telling you, that guy is having a really tough time right now. He couldn't make it in the city. His reputation is ruined, and he had to return home in disgrace to rely on his family." Vivian vividly described, "Guess what? Fiona actually went back with him." "Fiona? Has she gone mad?" "That's right. I heard that at first, the Song family treated Fiona like a goddess, but not long after she had the baby, she changed. They found all sorts of ways to make her work: washing, cooking, feeding pigs. Nothing was spared." Vivian's tone carried a hint of sarcasm. "The worst part isn't even this," Vivian said mysteriously, lowering her voice. "I heard that their child, because of Charles's parents' superstitions, missed out on treatment and ended up burned into a fool." I almost spat out my coffee, feeling a wave of emotion, and asked, "How could this happen? What superstition?" "It's just the old ways in the countryside. When a child has a fever, they won't go to the hospital and insist on inviting a deity to treat them at home." The result? Vivian shrugged, wearing an expression that said, "You know what I mean." I sighed and said, "To be honest, the child is the most innocent one. I never expected such a catastrophic beginning. What about Charles? He can't just stand by and watch, can he?" I asked. "What can he do? He owes a mountain of debt in the city, ran away back home, and is broke. When something happened to his child, he could only go to the construction site to carry bricks." Vivian's tone was filled with disdain. "And guess what? This young master broke his leg less than 3 days into carrying bricks." I covered my mouth, pretending to be surprised. "So unlucky, isn't that so?" Vivian vividly described. "Now the whole family relies on Fiona alone. Wasn't she quite proud before? Now she has to humble herself to serve those 2 old ladies and also take care of a fool, a child, and a disabled husband. Tsk, tsk, what a turn of fortune." In Vivian's description, Fiona has become a disheveled old woman, while Charles has truly turned into a useless person. My gaze turned cold as I recalled that humiliating marriage. Fortunately, I managed to cut my losses in time. Everything is pedestrian. Otherwise, it would be me and the child suffering the consequences. It is said that only evil people can bring out the worst in each other, so let this family sink into their own misery, and I should go enjoy my perfect life.